So this is part 2 of a video on peace. So I'm going to jump in with the teaser that I left from last time. So Pastor Paul, is it possible for people to actually have peace in the wrong things?
Yeah, in fact, it's a number of places in Scripture that actually address some of those wrong things that people find peace in. So I took a few moments to kind of jot some of these things down so that we could pull them out. But one of those is that people can have a false sense of peace based on their own resources. We find that over in Proverbs chapter 11, verse 28. And the idea behind it is for a person who has a lot of wealth, they can feel as though they're secure. Nothing can touch them. They have a sense of peace. But once again, you can even tell right now that a major change in a stock market, and all of a sudden, what we thought was an excessive amount of wealth or plenty to take care of ourselves and our family, and that can change almost instantly.
That's right.
Another one of those is people can have a false sense of peace based on their own perspective. So 1 Thessalonians 5:3, it speaks of people who are saying, everything's fine, everything's normal, nothing to worry about. And then it says, and then sudden destruction comes. You know, from our perspective, sometimes we could be completely wrong. So if a person is saying, oh yeah, I've got peace, I'm not worried, I'm not concerned, well, sometimes that's a false sense of peace.
Yeah.
And to kind of add to that just a little bit, people can also have a false sense of peace based on, and it's going to sound bad, being simple-minded. Okay. You've heard that phrase before, that ignorance is bliss.
Yeah.
And it's the idea that if I don't know, I don't care. Like, life is a lot better when you don't know.
Right.
Well, again, Proverbs addresses that. It tells us over in Proverbs 22:3, it says that a prudent person sees danger and they take precautions. But a simple-minded person doesn't see it and they continue to move forward. So it could easily be that somebody's taking a false sense of peace, or they have a false sense of security, just because they're trying to tune out and not pay attention to anything as well. So there are a number of places that people can have a false sense of security.
Man, would you say that it's maybe easy for people to slip into that, where they have the resources, they have all of the things lined up in a row, and get that sense of peace as opposed to finding it in Jesus?
Yeah, I think that our natural tendency is that we're constantly trying to shore up our lives in every way that there is a place of uncertainty. In fact, I addressed that even several weeks ago in one of the messages, talking about that's the reason why people are willing to pay a lot of money for like every type of insurance that they can find. It's always trying to gain a sense of peace of mind, financial peace, security for your family, based upon what you can do to help mitigate difficult circumstances. Well, the same is going to be true for somebody who is looking at their money and saying, because I've got this, I don't need to worry about that. Well, money, according to Scripture, has wings, and it can fly away quickly.
Right.
And we can see how that's even happening right now within our society and our culture.
Yeah.
So I think that our natural tendency is to try to find peace of ourselves, or by, I guess, mitigating difficult circumstances to make sure that our lives are as sure as what we can possibly make them. But unfortunately, you can't control everything.
Well, right. No, that's good. So if a Christian right now does not have peace, they're watching this video, in order to find maybe some practical ways to get peace in their life, what would you say to them?
Yeah, this is going to be a conversation that we start here and we really get in depth when we deal with the next couple of videos talking about anxiety. Because if we go back and we remember, as believers, peace begins with a person. And then it's from that relationship with Christ that there's now peace brought into our circumstances. When we understand that, that's part of it. We're reframing our minds about how we gain peace. But there's so many small pieces that we're going to get into on our next couple of videos that address how you can talk to that anxious mind, or address those anxious thoughts, or taking every thought captive. Peace is not just one of those things that if you do this one piece, no pun intended, if you do this, then everything is going to automatically bring peace. If there is one silver bullet, I would say it is pursuing an intimate relationship with Christ. But even when you get into that, there's so many different aspects of what that intimate relationship with him looks like. So I would say the first thing that a Christian needs to do if they're saying, I don't have peace, is let's reframe it to begin with. And that is, peace is not so much about your circumstances as it is about a person, an intimate relationship with Christ. Pursue him. That's step number one.
Well, I mean, there's so many helpful pieces in here, but I think it's also revealing that there is much more information that can be discovered. So for somebody, again, watching the video, what are some next steps that they can take?
Yeah, and even the way that we're kind of designing these videos, we recognize that this is not going to give a full biblical view on any one of these topics. And at the same time, I shared in our first intro video that I've been a pastor and a counselor for 21 years. This is also not designed to put 6 or 8 months worth of counseling at somebody's fingertips immediately.
Right.
These conversations are designed to be a little bit more like what would happen in a normal kitchen. Like when people are talking, they're gathering, hey, what do you think about this? Here's some ideas there. So I think, again, one of the first things for us to do is to remember that these videos are there to help bring out some basic ideas and get people started on a right path. So that next step that I would say would be for people to look at the link that is going to be connected with these videos where it just talks about peace. Once again, it's from our ChristLifeResources.com website, but it addresses peace on a one-page PDF from a biblical perspective. And that will help kind of fill out some other ideas, and maybe even from some of those discussion questions, as well as the passages that are included, it might lead people down a stronger or maybe a more thorough path for what the Bible has to say about peace.
Well, there's so much here. Again, we hope that these videos sincerely bless you, and we will see you on the next one.